Okay, hi everyone. This is 25th of November. Looks like this is the last week for this month. Let's go through lower time frame at 6 hours and then we'll go on higher time frame. This time we'll also look at monthly because the month is near end. So 6 hour, what we can see that clearly there are multiple attempts to break out this green level, which is 38,100. And if you zoom out, this is a consolidation. This is moving up nicely. Some people might get frustrated. What is happening? Because there are ups and downs. But once, if you focus on this yellow box, you notice that it's making progress. So sometimes you have to zoom out and see what is really happening and see the trend, because not every week or it's going to pump like this. So, but this is amazing because this consolidation is not sideways, remember. So if you think that 34 was the level where it stopped pumping, right now it is at 38, near 37, 38 range, which is like um, progress in a way, right? So it is moving up slowly, and to me this is actually amazing because when it pumps a lot, there's always a chance of deeper correction to adjust the moving averages. But here, when it moves up gradually, so 34 to 38 transition is without pump. That means there is no need to retrace it. You see my point? Because when it, let's say, when you throw a ball, and then when it hits the ground, you see a bounce, right? Similarly, when there is a bounce, there's some kind of retracement in trade, price action. But this kind of gradual progression, you don't need to have a retracement, and it can just shoot up from here because this is like a breakout boundary. To me, this is like it can happen anytime. We cannot predict when exactly, but this is like a breakout level. That's why I said breakout level. And this is like anytime it can pump all the way to 40K or 41K range, looking at its pattern, right? So this is looking amazing at this moment. Very, very well. I mean, there's absolutely no doubt. Of course, when it move like this, we have to watch where it stops. But you see, what is happening is it's making higher lows. Hmm? So that's why there's absolutely no need to worry about it. Um, Now, warning level was raised, and the risk level was also raised, as I mentioned last time, that we are going to do this kind of exercise where, as the price progresses or moves up, we are going to also raise this level, and the focus is always going to be support. I mean, some people always try to focus on the target, and I try to say, do not focus on the target, focus on the weakness, focus on the key supports, right? For an example, I always keep on trying, I mean, giving example or analogy from our health. So when we think about our health, what we focus is if there is any weakness. If there is no weakness, there is no sickness. See the point here. If there is no weakness, there is no sickness. So uh, if that means you're fit, I mean, I'm not talking about fitness like athletes and all. Let's keep it simple. It's very simple. If there is no sign of weakness, there's no sickness. So that means you're all right. That means the health is good. And if the health is good, then it should continue to go up because that's the direction. And this is as simple as this. Sometimes we overcomplicate, overthink, and ruin our planning and execution. And but the things are pretty simple when you look at this way. Hmm? So the question, so what is the direction right now? Direction is up. Number one question. Is there any weakness? Absolutely no. We can see that. Right? So, and do we know the key levels? We know. So you see these 3 points, you keep asking these 3 points and make sure that you are on the right track, right? So in terms of direction, in terms of strength, in terms of supports. We have information, and that though all this information indicating positive state at this moment. So, okay, that means everything is okay. Hmm? Now, targets and all are good to know. Okay, it just tells you that what is the next destination. But some people try to find, because it's just human tendency or mind, that unknown is very much unsettling, so to speak. Human mind doesn't like unknowns. If you're going from point A to point B, you must know where is the point B. If you don't know point B, you are always curious, where am I heading? But you unless you have target. So in a real world, you have target for everything. Here the market is deciding, not you or me are deciding. So that's the thing, that's the difference between. So if you are driving to somewhere, so you know the point B. Yeah, you are taking some task, you know what is the end state of the task. This is not the same thing. This is where we follow the market. We are not the driver here, we are the followers, and we try to assess where it might react. So I try to explain this to my friends and anyone who interacts, because they are too much interested in target. I said, don't pay attention to targets. Pay attention to the weakness, pay attention to the support. And sometimes they are not ready to change their mindset. They're not ready to change their um, way of thinking. And I'm not, I will never force them. But I'm trying to share my experience that when you track uptrend, do not focus too much on targets, because resistance and targets, whatever term you want to call, basically they are not point of reversal. Remember, the supports determine that which level is going to be the level which will determine the point of reversal. Resistance is can be a point where it could retrace. Okay, but the idea is not, because if you assume that the specific resistance is enough for any coin, and what if, and of course it retraces, and you assume that that is it, it has hit the resistance, that means it's too much. But what if it's not too much? You know what? So what if it is not too much, and it looks for the next resistance? Then that person gets into FOMO, because then the asset or coin continues to move up, and then you see what happens with Bitcoin. It's on 38K. Can you believe it? Like so many challenges. This year, high inflation, high interest rate, because they haven't come down significantly. Um, we have still war in Europe. We have another war and even the US-China relationship is not as like 2 years ago, 3 years ago. You see, so many challenges in the world, so many economic challenges, but the thing is, the market is very different. Okay, market is forward looking, and it looks for it based on certain assumptions that are down the line, after 6 months, 1 year, whatever, to the things will be better, improve, and that's what the price try to go for it. I mean, adjust to the futuristic situation. Yeah, I mean, future forward looking situation, basically. So the point is, so assuming that specific resistance is enough, assuming that that's it, the trend will break there. No, resistance cannot determine whether, yeah, you can always find out that it has hit the resistance. Now there is weakness. You can still find out, because the trend can be weakened, and which I highlight as well, that okay, it has hit the resistance. Remember, near 31K, I had highlighted that there is a weakness, and then we saw that how it retested 25K, and that was not deep enough for trend to be broken, right? So this is very important lesson to be learned here, that okay, there is a heavy resistance and then probably deeper correction, but even that deeper correction wouldn't break the trend. So I'm not suggesting how you should think. I'm not suggesting how you should trade. I'm just sharing my experience, and whatever worked for me, I'm trying to share what are the best practices here. Then it's up to you. But you are seeing the reality here, that from 15K until now 38K, it is moving. It has moved up with ups and down, right? So understanding the trend is at most important. Understanding the support, and that's why we have these two supports, that you can refer it if you want to refer it, right? And that's what I'm emphasizing here. So yeah, I mean, these are key points I wanted to reiterate. I may not have added anything new, but sometimes these are the important points I must repeat to make sure that it is understood well. Okay. And but one should see, and one should have big picture in mind for clarity and avoid this volatility, because you see that you cannot um, predict each and every turn. Remember, you cannot. There are always going to be ups and downs. We cannot be sensitive. So I think it's about knowledge and experience. Okay, let's move on to higher time frame on one day and see how it looks like. So this is, I think I don't see any new information. What I'm seeing is this is the ceiling and this is the low and this is recent low. So we can say this R3, which is 35,280, is an immediate support in a way, right? Or because this is where this is where it got support and bounce. So we can say this 35,000. 200 or 400 is where we can consider as an immediate support, and we have other supports down the line. Yeah, so I think this is very simple at this moment. I'll just extend this for now. I'll remove it once it touches 40K. For now, I'm just keeping it. I think I can remove it. Yeah, I can remove it because the consolidation is in this one. So now I think it's very simple. If I zoom out, it's very simple. Probably I'll bump this one and make this 30K as the last support, because it has improved. So I'm moving them. So we don't have to worry about this because it made progress. I can move up. If you're observing how I'm doing it, there's there is there's some lesson here. Okay, so I think this is good. We don't have to spend a lot of time in this. Let's look at weekly. This is okay. So last week, this is more like a doji. This week also doji. Doji candles are like indecisive price action, and they are not necessarily bad. They are like status quo kind of a thing. Like for an example, you see these are the three doji. Here also three doji, but they are not necessarily. So in this case, if you look at it, the price went down after this. In this case, the price went up. But the point is, doji candles themselves, we can try to see in the past. We don't have many though. We have doji here, and then it's actually moved up. This was also doji and then moved up. These are also two doji candles and moved up. You see, I'm just showing you few doji candles, and like where you have a thin, you see up. So you see here doji candle and down. I'm just trying to make a point here that doji candles are not necessarily bad. Okay. They are just saying, okay, I'm holding up. I'm holding up. That's what you would interpret. Yeah, so that's positive, remember. And we can also look at the weekly low, which is still higher, which I like it. And it is far away from the breakout, which is good. It's making progress. So this direction is still good. Correct. So we can say it is moving up. towards 40K at this moment. And you know the support. So I don't have to talk about supports here because we have already covered those supports. The layout here, it's more about studying the structure at a weekly time frame. So we have two flavors. Second flavor is this, where we are tracking the little differently with the trend. Earlier we had boxes, remember, three boxes, red, orange, and green. Now it's above those green boxes, so we don't need those boxes. That thing is achieved. But now we have another structure that I'm tracking, which is like a trend line or resistance line. You can say not trend line, my bad, resistance line, and you can see that how it is taking. Wow, this is amazing. Let me see. This is amazing. Look at this. It's like this line is so effective in a way. This line is really effective because it's not letting it go. Okay, again, when I say not letting it go, mind tries to think opposite. Does it mean does it mean that it's going down? No, don't think the opposite. I mean, there is reading between the line we call, right? So if I'm saying it is struggling, the mind thinks about the opposite. That does it mean that is it going down? No, it's struggling means struggling. Just take literal meaning. Don't try to don't try to extend the interpretation. If I'm saying struggling means struggling. Okay. So if I'm saying I'm looking for a job but I'm struggling, does it mean I have given up my hope that I'll now not going to find my job? We don't do we don't think that way, right? Unless I say so. So in this is an example. So if I say I'm struggling to find my job, does it mean I'm not going to get my job? Does it mean I'm going to give up? No. So when I say it's struggling, do not think it's going down. It's struggling means struggling. Yeah. And there is totally normal thing because it struggles. When I say struggles, don't think as a negative thing. Struggles, or maybe I can change the narrative or wordings in a way. I'll say it is trying hard. Maybe it's a nice way to put. Okay, so it's just these are just words. These are just words. But maybe I'll phrase it differently. I'll say it is trying hard to break up. Probably it mind loves this thing. So I'll go with what mind loves. Okay, so I wouldn't say struggling. Because that's more sound like negative um, side. So I'll say it is working hard or it's trying hard. Probably that makes sense. Okay, but yeah, so these are attempts. We'll have to keep on watching and how it goes. So far it's good. So we can move on to the next charts now, which are like some reference data. See, let's treasury doing treasury has retested this level. Remember, we were expecting some reaction last week when it was coming down, and we said, okay, this is the point of a breakout. I mean, from breakout. So this is now acting as support, and we can see there some bounce. And now if it is bouncing, now this is a support range, this is resistance, and this is no, unknown zone. Remember, this is transition zone. So what happens is between support and resistance, we call transition, where it we have to just monitor and see the progress. Simple. Like here, this is support and this is resistance. So this is transition from one point to another, point A to point B to point C, and point C to point B. So what happens is the price hops. Only thing is, consider these are as staircases, like steps on staircases. You see the stair. So these are steps. Only difference is the stairs that we typically see in a house or office, they are evenly high, like their height is even, the distance is even. Only thing is here is the height would vary, would be different, right? So if this height is more, this height is lesser, so on. But imagine the price moves up the way. So if the price up doesn't take the elevator, in short, they take the steps, and those steps with a varying height, not the same equal distance. right? So this is just for your visualization. So you can visualize, because mind loves to visualize. So I'm just giving you different analogy examples so you can visualize how price moves. And it is very important for learning that how price moves. And then you can, and that's why you will understand the importance of key levels, which are supports and resistance, that when it is in transition from one point to one point, another point, it's a journey, right? And these key levels are checkpoint, I call, because those are the steps where it will decide. So here, this is a checkpoint, right? It would check whether, so bounce is expected as support, but not necessarily the bounce will be high enough to break above. That is something we have to monitor. So when it is in transit, we monitor. So when it was coming down, we monitor and then expect some kind of reaction when it is hitting the support. Like similarly, when it is from this point to point A, we expect some kind of rejection, and we saw the rejection here, and then here we expect some kind of bounce. So we are seeing some bounce, and how much bounce or how much correction is something we have to monitor it. So point is, this becomes a checking point. This becomes a checking point. So I hope I'm making sense. So this is not about this chart, about treasury. Remember, what I just explained is applicable to any chart. This is how technical analyst would see. So I'm just sharing, or I would say sharing the knowledge of technical analysis, because you know that it's not just, I don't just talk about numbers, you know, because it doesn't make sense to just talk about numbers. Um, I had to come up, I mean, this is my goal actually, or I should not say goal, but that's my nature, that I believe that not just throwing number and run away or go away from that, but also share something valuable beyond numbers. And because then you will consider as education, and then it helps you understand. And when the times are bad, when there's you know uh fluctuation in price, then you can handle it better way, because you have that knowledge, experience. That's the that's that's why I share all this. So this is just a chart. It doesn't matter which chart is. Okay. So yeah, so it's good. I mean, that it's not here, it's here. So that's why it's good. Nasdaq, I mean, just see, it's making new high. This worked out well, so it's looking for the prior all-time high. So that's also good. Let's look at DXY. DXY is coming down nicely. Probably we have more drawings on this layout. So this is coming down, and remember we have this orange line. See, and if it doesn't react, then I mean it is going to react. Now height may not be this much. Height can be lesser, but we don't know yet. We don't know. So at this moment, the height is not important. We have to see what it does from this level, right? And then there is some reaction expected near this level. So coming next week, there's going to be some reaction. But again, when I say reaction, mind thinks that, oh, he said there's going to be a bounce. That means Bitcoin is going to go down. This is extended interpretation. Never do this. Try not to do this. Let me not say what you should do. What I'm saying, try not to think that way. Okay. Um, just interpret what I said. Don't interpret the extension of it. So if I say there is going to be bounce, don't say that. Don't assume. So try to remove the assumption part. Okay. But yeah, there's likely to be bounce, because it's coming down near, there's already near support actually. Yeah. So we'll have to see how it reacts. Anyway, so but it's good to see, as you can see without drawing, it's coming down nicely. All right, it didn't go up. So that's what we wanted to see. So this is in favor. Let's look at Bitcoin dominance now. The Bitcoin dominance, look at this one. So it had hit the support, which is like earlier resistance, and then bounce. That means BTC corrected, I mean, dominance corrected, and then now it is rising slowly. So by any mean, we can say the Bitcoin dominance is still high, about like 52% is still high. Um, and if it breaks below this, then we'll see more number of altcoin will participate in the rally. And below this will like the market would overall market, like even the ordinary coin or whatever fake coin or you know unworthy coin. I have to be nice, right? I don't use the shit. I would say unworthy coin will also pump if it breaks below this. But yeah, so right now, as long as it's above this level, which is 51.8, let's say, roughly speaking, we will say Bitcoin dominance is still on top. So Bitcoin is still on top, and so dominance is still high. Yeah, yeah. So that's how it is. Okay, so I think that's it on part one. I believe we have covered with BTC. Oh yeah, I forgot actually. On BTC monthly, I should have covered, which we should look at it without drawing. You don't need drawing because the month is ending. We'll just have a look at it. So this was the beginning, another post consolidation. You see this cluster? This is nothing but consolidation. Range bound 32K to 25. This is a consolidation. And then amazing move on the upside from last month. And this is also nice looking green candle. It's not as tall as this. Still 5 days to left, but it's not comparison. There's no need to compare month over month, right? Some like for example, this is big, this is bigger, this is bigger, this is smaller, but doesn't mean it stopped here. It retraced almost 60% in this month. You see, more than 50% for sure. But it doesn't mean this was the end. Here also it retraced. So like that. And there's no sign of retracement. Look at that. It's still on top. There's no crazy wick like this. So we can simply say that month is strong. Yeah, super strong. Super strong. What else in life we want? Yeah, this is fantastic. So if you look at monthly, that it's heading for 45, 40, in mid 40s range, approximately. Yeah. And then I'm going to show you after a few weeks, I'm going to show you a pattern which you would love to see. I have to keep some secrets, right? Or some surprises, otherwise it's boring. So this is a teaser from my end. I see a bullish pattern down the line. Okay. So if the price continues to move up like it is moving, nice and healthy, then there's beautiful bullish pattern I see, which I'm going to share with everyone when the time comes. So stay tuned. Yeah, so this is monthly. So I believe that we can wrap up part one because we know everything that we wanted to know, I believe. And then, yeah, from my end also, I shared everything that I wanted to share. So we will move on to next session and go through all the swing coins. Thanks, everyone.